Okay, the next bag we're going to talk about is the PACK 720. Obviously, by the number, if you take standard Marine, Space Marine infantry models from Warhammer 40K, you can get 720 of them in there. Overall dimensions on this bag is 18 wide by 14 deep by 14 high. That gives you 12 inches of foam. Again, using the 15.5 by 12 inch trays. The cost on this is about $100 empty. About $155 if you've got it filled with pluck foam, and $195 if you get custom cut foam trays. Overall, that works out to 14 cents per model, standard Space Marine infantry model, or 0.033 cents per cubic inch. So that puts that on, by cubic inch basis, pretty much on par with everything else. If you're just doing tons of, IG or Space Marine models, it is cheaper. But then again, you have to look in the factor of the foam, but with that, I suggest looking at per square inch or per cubic inch for the foam as well. When I initially bought this, I did a lot of comparison, went back and forth between the different bags, and this one ended up a little bit cheaper for the things I needed. What are the things I like about this bag? I like the pockets. This front pocket here, I can actually get tape measure, standard templates, and a bunch of dice and tokens and other things. It comes out a pretty decent depth. It does kind of poke with the dice. And here's a tape measure, so that just shows you how you get that right there. This pocket will hold all of your lists, your model lists, and it holds one codex pretty well. On the sides, other pockets. These are actually the perfect height for your flamer templates. You can also put dice and stuff in there, and there's one of those on each side. So a lot of external storage on this, pretty decent. It comes with a strap. Now, one thing that you will notice, this does not have a stack on top, a zipper on top that you can use to put it in the stackable system, and it's got a little heavier duty handle. So this one is primarily to either be the top of a stack or to be a standalone. It does have the zipper on the bottom, so you can put it on top of the big one. What I typically do if I'm going somewhere and I don't know what army I'm going to use, and I'm looking at big games and I have to have all my vehicles there, I use this one and I use the PACK 1520 stacked on top of each other. That gives me the ability to put in all of my infantry, and I have probably 150 to 200 infantry models and lots of flyers. Playing Dark Eldar, I can have anywhere from 6 to 8 Ravagers and Raiders, and I have 5 Venoms, a couple Talos, and then some of my bigger models. So you can get a ton of models between these two bags. It will end up running you empty about $300 to get both of them, and then putting the foam in. I got all of mine on actually, let me check that, $260 to get both of them and add the foam. I bought this one empty and did foam on my own, and I bought my XL with their standard foam, pluck foam pack, and I got it on sale during the holidays one time. So I didn't pay quite that much. I'm always looking for the cheaper way to get it, but overall, good price. Now, what I do like is this one is similar to the Sergeant, where you can pull it down like that. And then this is just, I've got these models actually pulled out and on a table right now. So it's a standard infantry tray. This was for witches. And the trays, they make them, each army has their infantry tray. So for like the witches, these are just your standard witches, and these are for your Chardonnette and Impalers, and these are bigger ones for your bigger HQ models. So you can get on their site, you can go and you can pick exactly what ones you want if they're pre-cut. This is just a pluck foam. These are Hellions that I'm not using. Again, this is one I had made for things that I wanted, because I have a combination of the old old models and new models. These are new version, new edition Scourges, and these are old edition Reaver jet bikes, and I had a little bit of space left over, so I used this. I don't know if you can see in there, but I have magnetized my Scourges for their weapons, so I just leave their other weapons in here. So you do have a lot of flexibility in what you produce. This was pluck foam. These are other Scourges. These are grotesques, so you can just see, just measure how high you need it, and you can do it to fit. And then this is probably my worst case of pluck foaming. It originally was for a jet and some old Reavers that I'm rebuilding. And then I just, this new model kind of fit in here. So that's why it's not an exact fit. But the nice thing, just like all pluck foam, you have these weird shaped models. You could fit them in there. This one is really not sitting in something designed for it when I plucked it, but I didn't want to waste that foam. And then it, completely empty. Insides are padded a little bit, but not really much. It's more of just a hard piece here. I think it must be some sort of really dense cardboard, because if you really push hard, you can compress it a little bit. But in general, it's pretty good. I do like the top opening, and that's one thing I like about the Battlefoam is I just don't like top loaders. And that was probably the #1 deciding factor why I went away from Army Transport, as good as they are and as much as I like them. And again, they're great for starter Army. Once you start getting really big armies, you start running out of space in those pretty quick. These are expandable. The other thing you can do is just take the foam. I have an entire Eldar army just in foam sitting upstairs, and when I want it, I pull that foam out off the shelf, put it in the bag, and then I put my Dark Eldar foam on the bag. On the shelf. So anyway, that is the 720. Nothing too fancy. Zips on top. It is a top loader or a standalone. Can hold a lot of models, and pretty comparable in total capacity actually to somewhere between an Army Transport and an Army Transport battalion. You can get one layer of vehicles and a whole bunch of infantry. You can get a 2,000 point army in here probably. Depending on what kind of unit you have, easily a 1,500 point. This one overall, I give it a, cost of 4. Really, my flexibility is 5 for all of these, just because you can set up the foam however you want it, and you can stack them in multiple different ways. The durability is a 4. Everything else is a 4 for this, but great little bag. Not a whole lot else to say. You can go on their website and find tons of stuff. And next, I am moving on to the Pack Plus.